Mayong adlaw mga amigo, my name is MJ and today I'm going to talk about Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. So in case you didn't know, Anne of Green Gables is actually the first book in the series about the story of Anne Shirley. Anne Shirley is actually an orphan girl that was adopted by Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, and actually it's quite funny like how the adoption turned out because first of all, Marilla and Matthew actually wanted a boy to help around their farm, but then there was some sort of a mistake and the orphanage or asylum actually sent Anne towards their way, and at first Marilla wanted to return her, but then when she realized that Anne actually has this amazing pleasing personality, Marilla and Matthew decided to adopt her and raise her as her own. I just wanted to preface this because I just decided that Anne of Green Gables is actually one of my favorite reads for 2022, and I am planning to read all of the books this year. It's that fantastic. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the main character, Anne. So the main thing that I wanted to talk about her is her personality. First of all, if there was like an embodiment of the sun as a person, Anne will be that person. She is a literal sunshine. I really love her personality. At first, I thought that Anne would be like very annoying, but eventually I fell in love with her because I mean, she's just a child acting as a child. That's why she's annoying to me because I'm an adult, but then I realized that she's just being her own endearing self. She's a kindred spirit in my personal opinion, and I don't doubt that if I have met her character as a child, I would recognize her as a bosom friend. See, that reference is in the book, and I'm very proud that I was able to insert that reference in this video. Her growth as a character is also amazing. So before I'm going to go to her growth, I just wanted to say that the author is such a great writer because she was able to seamlessly tie the scenes together even though that there are like years or months apart from the first and two scenes. And I think that's fantastic because most of the time when I read books, most especially young adult, they usually like put like a timestamp or something, but in this book it doesn't have a timestamp. You're just going to, oh my gosh, yes, it's already like a few years after the last scene, and you're just like thrown away because that's how amazing it is. That's how seamless it is. So let's go back to Anne's growth. So Anne's growth in this book is actually very amazing because I literally saw her becoming like a woman or a teen coming from like this talkative, dreamy child, and that's fantastic. It's like I'm watching like my daughter or sister grow, and I think that's really amazing. Even though like it's only in one book, I was able to see Anne grow, and that's absolutely lovely. So the second person that I want to talk about is Diana, who is Anne's bosom friend. So, in all honesty, I have never met someone like Diana the way he treated Anne. She is just ever so kind and there is no menace inside her body. The way she treats Anne is so amazing, and again, if I have met Diana as a child, there's no doubt that Diana would become my bosom friend, and I would have literally cried if I have met someone like Diana in real life. I must say that reading this book actually gave me a much more positive outlook towards the world because it's just like a very wholesome book. The people here are so great, and it made my anxious heart a little bit like less anxious because I have seen the good in people in this book, and most of the time with the books that I have read, I only see the bad in people. And now let's go to the Cuthberts, which is Marilla and Matthew, because they are very essential in Anne's growth. So Marilla and Matthew are possibly one of the most amazing parental figures that I have read in the book, because most of the time when I read about parental figures in the book, there is only one or two parental figures, or they just for the sake of the plot. But in this book, Marilla and Matthew are very essential in Anne's growth. Marilla became this person that is very hard on Anne, and she's the one who's giving the strict rules. Whereas Matthew was the one who is very like not that strict in a sense that he wanted to give Anne the world if he can, and that is a very amazing dynamic because most of the time, from what I have observed, parents work that way. I mean, in my part, like my parents work that way. One of them are strict and one of them is like the not so strict parent. And personally, I think that's the best thing because there's a balance of both worlds. And speaking of Matthew, this is a spoiler, and I suggest if you still haven't read the book, you might skip it. In the last part of the book, Matthew died, and I have cried a lot. And it's quite a long time ever since I have cried over a book. So that's like an experience. Matthew is just this kind-hearted soul, and I could not believe that he died in the first book. I would have expected him to be like in the second book, but then he died in the first book. I just can't believe it. The fourth thing which I wanted to talk about is I actually like the plot and the way it follows Anne's life. I knew off bat that a lot of people will find this book boring because there are no like huge confrontations going on, there are no huge conflicts going on, but that's what makes the plot interesting for me. The way that it follows Anne's life from her very first few days at Green Gables, in her very first day at school, her first fight with Gilbert Blythe, and then her journey to Queens. I think that's amazing. It's like I'm watching like a vlog of some sorts. Granted, there is like factor that it was set in like the past, and I love the past. I love studying about the past. I love reading books about the past. I love history. But it's like I'm watching a vlog of some sorts. It's like a day in the life or a week in the life vlog, and that is really, really fascinating. The fifth thing that I wanted to talk about is I was shocked by the large contrast between the TV show and the book. So hear me out. The very first thing that I have consumed around this world is Anne with an E, which is the TV show on Netflix. And although there are similarities, there are also like huge differences, and I want to talk about it. So I was shocked when the TV show killed Gilbert's father in supposedly like the scenes of the first book, because Gilbert's father was not killed in Anne of Green Gables. And then the second part is that when Gilbert's professional like highway I don't know what it's called, but like he decided to become a doctor, and in the book he actually became a teacher in a school that is near Avonlea. To be honest, I don't really have any problems with Gilbert like being a doctor, but actually in Anne of Green Gables it has like a huge factor, because there is a scene here in which Gilbert denied a position at Avonlea so that Anne will get that position, and that is very essential in my part, and I am sad that it was lost in the TV show. Girl, when I read that part, I kept on saying and thinking that it's no wonder Anne fell with Gilbert Blythe, because I would have too if he has done that, because it is utterly selfless. It's an incredibly nice gesture and something that I would treasure in a lifetime. Second, I have liked that in a show that Ruby was actually given, like Ruby and the other girls were given much more personality, because in the book it is much focused on Anne, but in the TV show they were able to actually give personalities to Ruby, and although they have personalities in the book, it was not really that expounded. So I just love that in the TV show it was much more expounded, and I really, really love that. And speaking of personalities, it was actually also given to the boys in the class, like Billy, although like his characteristic in the TV show is disgusting because he is a bully, at least he has a personality instead of this fat boy who is dim-witted, which is like his personality in the book. However, I am still disappointed because Charlie Sloane was not really that emphasized in the TV show, even though that in the book, in the first few chapters, Charlie already like said his interest about Anne, like he literally like wrote it outside the school. I forgot. Is it in the porch? I forgot. Like, I would have loved it if I have seen more scenes about Charlie instead of like randomly adding him like in the end or something. And of course, another difference is there is no Cole in the book, like the Cole guy, which everybody loves in the second season. And I have researched that Cole is actually just added for the TV show. So yeah, and he's not in the book, and I was looking for him in the book, which is kind of split me because I was not able to like look over the articles saying that Cole was added to the TV show. Anyway, let's move past that. Also, Aunt Josephine also don't have a companion in the book. In the book, she is just this old lady who never got married and who is very cranky. However, I really, really love that the relationship of Josephine and Anne in that book and TV show is the same, and I really love that. although the TV show is very, very great in a sense that they were able to make it modern and appeal to modern audiences, I would have loved if they have stick to the original material more, because like it's just authentic, and I think Anne of Green Gables does not really need any more changes. And yeah, but those are just my thoughts, and just because I'm biased because I love this book and it's probably one of my favorite reads of all time. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. Also, in the last part, I am very excited because Gilbert and Anne are already talking, and I have never been so invested in a relationship before, like that in a fictional relationship before. Even in the books that I have read before, even Hunger Games, I am not invested in the relationship, or like all of the romance books I have read, but I am so invested with Gilbert and Anne's relationship for some reason. Girl, I just can't. I just can't. They need to get together like soon. I hope in the next book, Anne of Avonlea. Anyway, so basically that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any comments, please put it down below and let's discuss, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.
Oh, 1 mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above.